What if I told you that two ancient philosophies could completely transform how you handle life's challenges? Imagine facing a job loss, a breakup, or even just daily stress with unshakable calm. Or picture building a life so meaningful and purposeful that you feel genuinely fulfilled, not just happy in the shallow sense. Today, we're diving into the ultimate philosophical showdown, Eudaimonism versus Stoicism. And trust me, this isn't some dusty academic debate. These are practical life philosophies that Silicon Valley executives, elite athletes, and some of the world's most successful people are using right now. Stay with me for the next 12 minutes, and you might just discover the philosophy that changes everything for you. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're exploring two powerful ancient philosophies that offer surprisingly relevant answers to the life-old question, how should I live my life? In one corner, we have Eudaimonism, championed by Aristotle, which focuses on flourishing and living well through virtue and favorable circumstances. And in the other corner, we have Stoicism, developed by thinkers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, which emphasizes inner resilience and finding peace, regardless of external circumstances. By the end of this video, you'll understand the core principles of each philosophy, how they differ, and most importantly, how to apply their wisdom to your own life. Let's dive in. Let's start with Eudaimonism. The word comes from the Greek eudaimonia, which is often translated as happiness, but it's so much more than that. It's better understood as flourishing or living well. Aristotle, the rockstar philosopher of ancient Greece, believed that happiness isn't just a feeling, it's an activity. Specifically, it's the activity of living virtuously according to reason. Did you know that Aristotle was actually Plato's student for 20 years? And while Plato focused on abstract ideals, Aristotle was much more interested in practical wisdom and how to live well in the real world. Think about it this way. Have you ever accomplished something difficult that required skill, focus, and effort? Maybe completing a challenging project, mastering a sport, or creating something beautiful. That sense of fulfillment you feel isn't just pleasure, it's eudaimonia. It's the satisfaction that comes from exercising your uniquely human capacities well. For Aristotle, virtue is key. But what does virtue actually mean? It's not about following rigid moral rules. Instead, virtues are character traits that help us function well as human beings. Aristotle believed in the golden mean, the idea that virtues are the middle ground between extremes. Courage, for example, is the sweet spot between recklessness and cowardice. Here's where eudaimonism gets really interesting. Aristotle acknowledged that we need some external goods to truly flourish. Health, wealth, friends, family, these things matter. You can be virtuous, but if you're suffering from extreme poverty or illness, it's hard to truly flourish. Professor Martha Nussbaum of the University of Chicago has expanded on Aristotle's ideas with her capabilities approach, arguing that societies should ensure everyone has the basic capabilities needed to flourish. Her work bridges ancient philosophy with modern ethics and development economics. So in essence, eudaimonism is about developing your character, using your uniquely human capacities well, and having enough good fortune to support your flourishing. Now let's turn to Stoicism, which offers a different approach to the good life. Developed by thinkers like Zeno, Epictetus, Seneca, and the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism is all about finding inner peace and freedom regardless of external circumstances. Interestingly, Stoicism gets its name from the Stoa Poikile, or painted porch in Athens, where Zeno first taught his philosophy around 300 BCE. And despite being known for emotional control, the Stoics weren't emotionless robots. They actually valued joy that comes from virtue. The core Stoic insight is powerful in its simplicity. We should focus only on what we can control. As Epictetus, a former slave who became a renowned philosopher, put it, some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. The Stoics believe that unhappiness comes from trying to control things we can't, and neglecting what we actually can control. our own judgments and actions. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine you're stuck in terrible traffic. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you respond to it. You can choose to get angry, raising your blood pressure and ruining your mood. Or you can accept what you can't change, and perhaps use the time to listen to an audiobook or practice mindfulness. For Stoics, external things like wealth, health, and reputation are indifferents. They're not inherently good or bad. What matters is how we use them. Professor Massimo Pigliucci of City College of New York has been instrumental in reviving Stoicism for modern audiences. In his book, How to Be a Stoic, he shows how this ancient philosophy can serve as a practical guide for 21st century challenges. This doesn't mean Stoics don't care about anything. They believed in living according to nature and fulfilling our duties as rational social beings. They just recognized that virtue, living wisely and justly, is the only true good. The ultimate goal, a state called apatheia, freedom from disturbing emotions, and ataraxia, tranquility of mind. Imagine being able to maintain your inner peace regardless of what life throws at you. So now that we understand the basics, let's compare these two philosophies head to head. Where do they fundamentally disagree? First, they differ dramatically on the importance of external goods. For Aristotle, external goods like health, wealth, and relationships are necessary ingredients for flourishing. You need a certain amount of good fortune to live your best life. The Stoics, on the other hand, argue that virtue alone is sufficient for happiness. External circumstances are irrelevant to your true well-being. Here's something fascinating. When the Stoic philosopher Zeno was shipwrecked and lost everything, he reportedly said, "Fortune bids me to be a less encumbered philosopher." Talk about making lemonade from lemons? Think about it this way. Aristotle would say that while virtue is the most important ingredient in the recipe for happiness, you still need other ingredients too. The Stoics would say that virtue is the only ingredient that matters. Everything else is just garnish. Second, they differ on emotions. Aristotle believed that emotions, properly regulated, are an important part of the good life. The virtuous person feels the right emotions, at the right times, and to the right degree. The Stoics were more skeptical of emotions, seeing many of them as the result of false judgments. They aimed to transform destructive emotions through rational understanding. Professor Nancy Sherman of Georgetown University has done groundbreaking work on the role of emotions in Stoic ethics. In her book, Stoic Warriors, she explores how Stoicism can help military personnel deal with trauma while still acknowledging the importance of emotions. Finally, they differ on fate and agency. Aristotle acknowledged life's unpredictability. While we can cultivate virtue, we're not entirely masters of our fate. The Stoics emphasized accepting fate and finding freedom within. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. So which philosophy is right? Well, that depends on you and your circumstances. Let's talk about how to apply these philosophies in the modern world. These philosophies aren't just historical curiosities. They're being rediscovered by people seeking meaning and resilience in our chaotic world. Stoicism has seen a massive resurgence, with books like Ryan Holiday's The Obstacle is the Way becoming bestsellers. Tech CEOs, professional athletes, and military leaders have embraced Stoic practices. Did you know that James Stockdale, a U.S. Navy vice admiral who was held as a prisoner of war in Vietnam for over 7 years, credited his survival to Stoic philosophy? He had memorized the works of Epictetus before his capture. Why? Because Stoicism offers practical tools for managing stress and uncertainty. Techniques like negative visualization, imagining worst-case scenarios to appreciate what you have, and the dichotomy of control, focusing only on what you can influence, are powerful antidotes to anxiety. Eudaimonism connects with positive psychology and the growing interest in human flourishing. Researchers like Martin Seligman have developed models of well-being that echo Aristotle's ideas about virtue and meaning. Dr. Martin Seligman of the University of Pennsylvania, often called the father of positive psychology, has developed the PERMA model of well-being, positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment that has striking parallels with Aristotle's eudaimonia. So how can you apply these philosophies? Here are some practical suggestions. If eudaimonism resonates with you, try these approaches. Identify your unique strengths and virtues and create opportunities to exercise them. Build meaningful relationships and contribute to your community. Set challenging but achievable goals that align with your values. Practice gratitude for the external goods in your life. If Stoicism speaks to you, consider these practices. Start each day by identifying what you can and cannot control. Practice negative visualization. Briefly, imagine losing things you value to appreciate them more. Use the view from above. Imagine viewing your problems from a cosmic perspective. Respond to challenges by asking, what virtue is needed here? Professor Donald Robertson, author of How to Think Like a Roman Emperor, has developed evidence-based psychological techniques derived from Stoicism. His work shows how ancient Stoic practices align with modern cognitive behavioral therapy. But here's my personal take. Why choose? The most powerful approach might be combining elements of both philosophies. Strive for virtue and meaning like Aristotle suggests, while cultivating the inner resilience and acceptance that Stoicism teaches. Appreciate external goods without becoming dependent on them for your happiness. So which philosophy resonates more with you? Are you drawn to Eudaimonism's vision of flourishing through virtue and favorable circumstances? Or does Stoicism's emphasis on inner freedom and resilience speak to your situation? The beauty is that you don't have to fully commit to either label. These are tools for living well, not dogmas to follow blindly. Here's a fascinating connection. The modern psychological concept of flow, developed by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, has remarkable similarities to Aristotle's concept of eudaimonia. Both involve being fully engaged in activities that challenge us and use our highest capacities. As we navigate our complex modern world, these ancient philosophies offer timeless wisdom. They remind us that a good life isn't about accumulating possessions or chasing fleeting pleasures. It's about developing character, finding meaning, and cultivating inner strength. I'd love to hear which philosophy resonates more with you, or how you might combine elements of both. Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on practical philosophy and living well. And check out the links in the description for book recommendations to dive deeper. Remember, philosophy isn't just for academics. It's for anyone seeking to live a better, more meaningful life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.